It's part of the come up. Yeah, you might have had some dusty ass chick do you wrong. You might have had some dusty ass manager say, hey, you know what? Today's your last day. We want to bring the new guy in. Brother, call it to the good. Call it to the good. I promise you, man. I promise you, if you just call it to the good and get back to the work and just keep on doing the same thing. In other words, keep on traveling that path. I promise you in 5 minutes, man, you're going to say, golly. I promise you in 5 minutes, you're going to say, God, thank you for sending me through that BS. I promise you, man, on everything I know. If you stay the course in 5 minutes, you're going to say, I understand now that it had to happen. Real quick, brothers. I ain't going to even hold y'all but for a second this morning, man. I want to tell y'all something this morning, brothers. Your setback is a crucial part of your come up, brothers. Your setback, and I'm talking about the thing that puts you in a space where you sitting back just scratching your head saying, how in the hell did this take place? I'm telling you, man, this is a crucial part. I'll even go as far as to say is the elixir for your come up. Meaning if this certain thing wouldn't have taken place, your come up wouldn't even exist. And I know you scratching your head, man, saying, I don't know, brother. My partner back in the days, man, every time I try to give him some game, he'd be like, I don't know, man. That's what he used to always say, man. They call me Mon back at the crib. He said, I don't know, man. And I know a lot of you brothers are saying that right now. Depending on where you are. In other words, if you're going through something right now, you're probably saying, nah, bro, this thing I'm going through right now, me losing this job, me losing this certain situation, me losing this relationship, me losing whatever, like it wasn't according to plan. Like what you're saying, so it really ain't making sense. All I'm asking you brothers to do is take what I'm saying and just put it in the back parking lot of your mind. Because in a few minutes, it's going to make sense to you. And when I say in a few minutes, that might be a week, that might be a month, that might be a year. At some point, what I'm saying is going to make sense to you. On the other side of the coin, you brothers that have got it out the mud and you looking back at you having this victory, you understand that what I'm saying makes total sense. You can look back at certain situations, again, job loss, relationship, you name it, and say, you know what? If that thing that I was calling a setback wouldn't have happened, like there's no way I could be right here where I am now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not sitting there saying I'm the wisest man on the planet, brothers. But I can tell you this. In 48 years of living, I've been able to take a few notes, man, and learn a few things. And when I can go back, man, to as far as 19, 18, 20 years old, when life would have these small collapses, like, bro, there was no way in the world I would have gotten to that next level if it wouldn't have taken place. First out, let me give a shout out, man. Let me give a shout out to, first off, my brothers in the Power Circle, man. Because a lot of times when I come with these conversations, it's really a spinoff out of a conversation that we had on Sundays in the Power Circle. Or me and my brother had one-on-one from the Power Circle, man. Second, let me give a shout out to this, man. Let me give a shout out, man, to all these people. Because I've been seeing a lot of super chats lately. I didn't know you could give super chats to videos, man. So I see a lot of people giving super chats. I'm going to say I appreciate that, brother. Those super chats definitely sponsor the coffee in the morning. So I appreciate that, man. I appreciate all the people that are members of the community, man. The membership, right? So I just want to say thank y'all, man. If y'all are watching my videos, man, I never say, hey, hit the subscribe button. But if you like the content I give out, brother, hit that subscribe button. Give me a like. It don't cost you nothing, right? But going back to what I was saying, man, it can be a hard pill to swallow when I say that your setbacks are a major part of your come up. And the thing is, like I can remember, if I look back at the common denominator of all scenarios, there's a period of time where I'm actually, and I don't want to use the word, but fighting with God, man. There's a small point in each one of those scenarios. I'm talking about going back 20 plus years, brother, almost 30 years. every time my life does a certain thing, there's a moment in time where I'm fighting with God. And when I say fighting with God, there's a moment in time where I'm just sitting back scratching my head, man. And I'm sitting there saying, you know what? I understand the laws of this world. I understand how things are brought into existence. And I did X, Y, Z. I did 1, 2, 3. I did A, B, C. And I'm looking around at the scenario and I'm saying, how did I get here? And I'm sitting there saying, God, like you let me down. You let me down. But I'm telling you, man, it's part of a much bigger plan. Because when you ask for things to come into existence, you have to understand that you don't know how it's going to get there, bro. Like when you're looking for a certain financial level, when you're looking for a certain peace within a relationship or certain love within a relationship, when you're looking to either live or work in a certain environment, you can see that end goal, but you don't really know how to navigate there. And part of that navigation process, man, is really sometimes it's putting you through the fire to make you a different person to receive that thing, bro. So a lot of times, man, you're going to go through a period of time where you're sitting there, quote unquote, fighting with God. And all I'm going to tell you is this, man. You're going to go through that stage where you're scratching your head. In other words, you're going to go through that stage where, I can't think of that movie. What's that movie, man, where them brothers one of them were getting married and they were going to the casinos. It's a couple of series. I can't think of the name. I know my boy Cooper's in there. But where that brother was in a casino and those numbers and stuff was going around his head because he was thinking like, how do I, that's what you're going to go through, man. A lot of times you're going to be in situations, man, where you're going to say it don't make sense, bro. Like, Soul, I hear what you're saying, but what I'm going through right now, it don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? All I'm telling you this, man, is stop fighting with God and just keep going. Just keep going. Meaning, if you understand the way this world works, if you understand that, hey, you know what, my meditation and my thought process and the actions I'm taking and the rituals I've created are what's going to create that end goal, all I'm saying is stop fighting with God and just keep going, bro. Just keep going. It's kind of like the quote I'm always talking about out of what Rasha said in the book Oneness. Like at some point in time, man, you're going to be moving toward a goal and you're going to look and see the end of the tunnel. And you're going to say, hey, you know what? Everything that I've done is panning out like it should be. But then Rasha said at some point in this journey, when you're right there at the end, the whole world is going to crumble. The whole scenario that you had painted in your head, like it's going to start falling away. Rasha said that's part of the process. She said, don't reach for these fragments of the old world, man. And all I'm telling you, brother, in every scenario you can think of, don't reach for the old world, man. Just keep on going. You're doing the right thing when you get to the end and it seems like everything is going to shit. And the story I was sharing with my brothers, man, and I'm sure I've shared this on a YouTube video before, is, I was just trying to level up in life at one point in time, man. 2000 and, I don't know. Whenever I talk about, I open up that gym in East Texas, man. Man, I had taken, I had put everything in place, man. I had my vision right, my movement right, my actions were right. And I took a large sum of money, man, and put it into starting this business, right? A brick and mortar business, right? It ain't like starting a digital business. It's hard to take a loss on a digital business. But brick and mortar, man, I was buying paint. I was repairing lights. I was getting permits. I was buying fitness equipment. You name it, brother. Over about a month and a half time, man, I put a lot of money into building this business up. And, brother, as soon as I could get started, it was just like nosedive. And, brother, I sit back, man, after spending all this money, after putting all this time and effort into getting this business going, I sit back, man. I was like, real talk. I was like, God, it ain't that I don't believe in you, but you let me down. It ain't that I don't believe in you, but man, I feel like something ain't right. Like the laws aren't the laws anymore. Because what's taking place, it just don't make sense. Like I did everything right. I moved in a divine order, but now my world is crumbling. Now my situation don't look like it's been in my vision. And I'm telling you, I can take that scenario when I was moving in a certain way, I had a desire. I had no idea that just a few weeks after that, my life would be completely different. I had no idea that as I was sitting there in the midst of a quote unquote burning building, not understanding, scratching my head, I had no idea, man, that just a few weeks later, my life would be at least 4 or 5 times better than what I was trying to build at that time. I'm going to tell you, brother, and I'm saying I can give you 5 or 6, maybe even 10 scenarios in life where this is taking place. So all I'm saying, man, is understand that your setback is part of the come up, bro. It's part of the come up. Yeah, you might have had some dusty ass chick do you wrong. You might have had some dusty ass manager say, hey, you know what? Today's your last day. We want to bring the new guy in. Brother, call it to the good. Call it to the good. I promise you, man. I promise you, if you just call it to the good and get back to the work and just keep on doing the same thing. In other words, keep on traveling that path. I promise you in 5 minutes, man, you're going to say, golly. I promise you in 5 minutes, you're going to say, God, thank you for sending me through that BS. I promise you, man, on everything I know. If you stay the course in 5 minutes, you're going to say, I understand now that it had to happen. You're going to say, I understand now that it had to happen. I can remember when some things took place, even when me joining the military, back when I was a young man, teenager, 20 years old, however old I was, right? And life was doing something. And the job that I was on was doing something. And some things took place, man. They hired a new young manager, man, and he started tripping. And, man, and things kind of went south. And for about a period of 2 or 3 days, I was just like, what in the cornbread hell? And 2 or 3 days later, I was like, I understand now. Like, if I even looking back at situations back then, I can look at my life now and say, you know what, man, if that quote unquote tower wouldn't have fallen at 19 years old, like, there's no way in the world I could be here doing what I'm doing now. Like in other words, like it couldn't have even taken place if it wouldn't have happened. If that old relationship in the past wouldn't have taken place, there's no way in the world I could be experiencing what I'm experiencing now. If XYZ wouldn't have taken place, I would have never been in position to have the thoughts to get to where I am now. Like, call it all to the good, man, regardless of where you are. Even if you're at your quote unquote bottom right now, just sit back and say, you know what? I don't understand it, man. I don't understand why it's doing what it's doing, but I got to call it to the good. Like, I've been living too long. I can look back and see where this same pattern has happened over and over and over again, and it's always paying out to work for me. So just never forget that, brothers. Like, never forget that, man, because you got to understand, man, a lot of times for us to get to the next level, we have to have lessons learned. But a lot of times we got to be purged of some things, bro. Like, a lot of times we might have certain mindsets. We might have certain behaviors. We might have certain rituals in place. We might have certain practices. We might just have certain behaviors about ourselves that, you know what, like Most High saying, you know what? Okay, I understand you're asking for a certain thing, and you're following the laws of the land to get there. So I'm going to put you there, but you have to understand that the way you moving, like, you don't fit there yet. Like, I got to shake your world up for a little bit and send you through something. I got to clean you up before I put you there. And a lot of times during that cleanup process, that's when the time comes, man, where a lot of people, places, and things that you currently have won't let you go there. So that shakeup sometimes is like getting rid of all that residue around your life, and then it appears, right? So a lot of times, man, it's a part of purging. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's a part of it's a portion of you being tried. It's part of you being tried. In other words, and I can relate this to a lot of fraternities. No, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not going. But a lot of times it's about you being tried. Like, a lot of times it's like, okay, I see you're requesting a certain thing, you're asking for a certain thing, but before I give it to you, I gotta put a whole new scenario in your life. I got to put a whole new scenario in your life. And this scenario might take a whole year to play out. It might take a whole year, 2 years to play out. It might take a whole 3-day weekend to play out. But I got to put you in a whole scenario where from start to finish, I got to see if you're going to walk that path and walk on out of there with that same mindset you say you have. A lot of times we got to be tried, especially if we're asking for a quantum leap. If you're asking for a quantum leap, you got to be tried, brothers. If you're trying to go from 50,000 to 150,000, and you're saying, well, hey, you know, God, when I get this money, this is how I'm going to move. A lot of times God will say, okay, you know what? I'm going to put you in this scenario and see if that's how you move. And see if you still believe in what you say you believe in. And see if you still stand on your square. Like, I'm going to see if you about that life. And then I'm going to let it crumble away and still if you still about that life. And if you still about that life right there, then you're going to see the how the Bible say it, you're going to see the gates of heaven open up. You know what I'm saying? You're going to see the job of jobs come your way. You're going to see the vacation of vacations come your way. You're going to see the woman that you were really desiring just fall in your freaking lap. But I had to see if you was about that life first, man. I had to see if you were really standing on business. So all I'm saying is this, brothers. Your setback, man, it's part of your come up. It's part of your come up, man. Like we have to get to the point where we're men of understanding, you know, to where we get to the point where it's like, you know what? I don't care what I'm seeing. I don't care what I'm seeing. I don't care if bill collector is knocking. I don't care if repo man is knocking. I don't care if foreclosure man is knocking. I don't care if I wake up one day and see my girl on OnlyFans. I don't care if my manager say, hey, you know what, the pink slip is in your locker. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if the doctor say, hey, you got 3 months to live. Like, I give zero fucks about what this third world is showing me. I'm going to live from my mental space and call that the real world. And I'm telling you, when you get to that point, bro, it's going to be hard for anything to knock you off your square. It's going to be hard because at that point, a man can actually live inside of a burning building and still get the outcome he wants. It's hard to shake a man that's moving in that energy, bro. So all I'm saying, man, is understand that your setback is the elixir for your come up. Like it's almost to the point where even if a man is traveling the path that he's creating his world, he should be expecting that. At some point, a man should say, you know what, man, this path that I'm traveling, like it's been smooth sailing. Like something ain't right. And a lot of times, man, when we have these small goals or small things we're trying to bring into existence, a lot of times those small flights are peaceful and smooth. Like, in other words, if I'm finna fly to Dallas to Houston and it's a 45-minute, hour and a half flight, we probably won't even hit no turbulence. We probably won't even hit no turbulence. We probably just a few thousand feet off the ground, so to speak, right? But when I want to go to Dubai, when I want to go to Morocco, when I want to go to Cape Town, and we 37,000 feet in the air, but it's going to be a rough ride. At some point, there's going to be some turbulence. But when it hits, man, all you got to do is say, you know what? I feel the turbulence. I feel what's going on. I know it feels like this plane is about to turn upside down. But I'm going to sit here and eat my popcorn. I'm going to sit here and finish watching my movie. I got Limitless on. I'm going to sit here and just chill. Because I understand that turbulence is part of the process. This stomach might drop 4,000 or 5,000 feet out of nowhere. I'm still eating popcorn watching the movie. Because I know at some point in time, this stomach is going to land and I'm going to be exactly where I want to be. That's how you have to live your life, brother. That's how you have to live your life, man. That thing that we call God, that being, that entity that we call God, or whatever we call it, source, whatever name you put to it. I'm going to tell you this, man. That source is what it says it is and does what it says it does. And I'm going to tell you this, a lot of times it won't make sense to us. A lot of times we'll choose, we'll wake up and choose violence and choose to fight with that entity. But just be calm, man. Like your Bible says, be still and know that God is God. You know what I'm saying? Know that God is God, man. Let God do that thing that you ask it to do. Understand, man, that a lot of times your setback is part of your come up, brothers. Y'all have a good day, man.